site, and they basically told me that this was the last bit of land. That's what they told me. Yeah.
Okay then, right. What observations do we want? Come on, because it's 11 o'clock and we...
Well, I've got traffic and highway safety survey and subject to satisfactory sewage and the 106. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay then, okay, thank you. Let's get on now, please. Reports?
No, just to let you know, I did send through a copy of an email from Sergeant Mark Leith to councillors. There is a copy in the correspondence file basically explaining new setups that he's taken over cows as well.
Clark?
Not a lot more other than my report, of which there's copies on the table. I'm pleased to let you know the new notice boards put up yesterday.
Well done. Excellent.
Great. Sorry, then I need to check the only other thing is just to note the internal audit costs, and we'll come back to those a bit later. And the external audit, that's come through. But I have spoken to the chairman, because I haven't done one of these for over 10 years. I might need a bit of assistance. Are you happy for me to get a couple of hours help with it?
Yes. As soon as I can.
That's my report. Oh, just one other thing. There was a question raised by a couple of councillors regarding the council tax increase, because I think we'd agreed 11% increase and the bills came through for 18. So I did query this with Andrew Carpenter, who's the principal accountant with the Isle of Wight Council, and basically it's due to this council tax support grant, which in hindsight we should have taken more detail and taken into account more, in the fact that I thought they were looking for the total precept amount and they were looking for the precept and this grant was part of it, so it's actually slewed the figures a bit, so I'm sorry about that. But he did send an email through with it all explained. So I hope that does now make sense to everyone. So we'll have to take that into account next time.
For a point of information, Sally, Rosper, annual safety check on the 2 play areas.
Yes.
Does that include Willow Green? Because there's a trim track.
Well,
No.
would it not?
No, it's Bouldnor and Newbridge.
Which Bouldnor and Newbridge, yeah.
Although it's not a play area, it does have equipment on it.
So do you normally get that? Yeah, I would have thought it was.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
All right, I'll take that back
Unless
to
you
the
want to
trustees.
write nicely and ask us to take it into account in future years, and we might be able to...
If you have someone coming to do that, it would be obviously very helpful, even if on this occasion I need to go back to the Green Committee and ask if we can find some money towards that check.
So it's a trim track.
It's a trim track,
And
yes,
it's
there are
got
things
Willow
people
Green.
climb over. And
Are you happy if I give them your contact number and
Yeah.
we'll try and get a price for them to check it?
Yeah, although I'm really not, I'm not chair or
No, or I can do it
but-
through, is it Mrs. Gable? Is
Mike is waiting for an operation to remove a tumour from his pituitary gland,
Right.
and
Probably just
I
not to
think,
bother with it.
yes,
So maybe if I liaise with you
Yeah.
on that, is that okay, Chairman?
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Right, councillors' reports. Stuart, would you like to go first? And if you have to get off, you can.
Only a couple of minor points as we've been talking about. Bill Murphy, who, as you know, was head of planning, is now being shifted sideways and will be responsible for contracts, among other things.
What sort of contract?
A whole range of
Okay.
contracts, but yes, I think it probably will include that one. Wendy Pereira, who was the deputy, will now become head of planning. A number of planning policies are being reviewed, as is the structure of the department, because we are extremely concerned about the effectiveness of planning enforcement. And there is a real worry about having the appropriate numbers of people and resources to do it. They are also out to consultation on a review of various housing policies at the moment. One of the things that I've asked for, and I guess it's pertinent to the sort of things that have been talked about this morning, is that where there is a major development that's categorised as 10 properties or more, I think it's important that we actually have an early indication when the first draft of the officer's report is made known. Because I can't see that town and parish councils or indeed the local council can make sensible comment and to find out often just a week or so before the meeting what the decision is a bit too late. So I've written to Lord Fuller, who is the cabinet member responsible for planning issues, and asked for that to be considered. I think it gives us all a bit more time to actually look at what's actually being proposed. And finally, just a comment which arises really from the last council meeting, where one of the members put forward a motion suggesting that actually the executive should be elected by the full council rather than the controlling group. And that was approved on a chairman's casting vote. I think if it actually is carried through, it requires Secretary of State approval. The Isle of Wight Council will be the first English council to actually do that.
Really?
So,
Oh, happy story.
well, that suggests to me that the Secretary of State might not agree. But perhaps one of the more interesting things arising from that, and funny enough, this is my next meeting, the leaders of the various different groups all appreciate how, firstly, what difficult financial days we live in. I don't think anyone would be surprised at that. But secondly, how we really need to work more cooperatively to get the policies and decisions made. And so we are the leaders of each group, or for some reason they include me, I don't know why, because I'm not the leader of any group. Are meeting to try and discuss a way forward. We might end up a bit like the national government, where you don't have a coalition, but you end up with what they call a confidence and supply agreement. In other words, where something comes up, the other major parties, if you can agree an accommodation, will then support it. The important thing there is that it gives a degree of surety about a policy, and it gives some certainty for officers who find it very, very difficult.
Quite democratic, isn't it?
It's cooperative and democratic instead of adversarial and democratic. So we will see how that pans out. We need to agree the way forward before the council's annual general meeting, which is on the 20th of May, to find an accommodation somehow. So, interesting developments.
All right. Helen.
Right, okay, it's been quite a busy month for me. On the 16th, with Pam, we attended the County Training Partnership Seminar. The first topic with John Metcalf, Head of the Economy and Tourism, gave a presentation on future sustainability for the island. He pointed out that our future lies with closer connection to Hampshire. The focus on delivery of services is now customer-based. The devolution of services is our present way forward, and this includes planning. So enabling plans are very relevant. Topic 2 from Stephen on fundraising localism was very clear about the need for councils to look at funding methods, of which there are many, to provide what the county council used to provide. And as we've heard just now, that funding if you look, seek and ye shall find. Topics 3, 4 and 5 were a sort of workshop session. Insurance, and Pam and I decided to give this one a miss, but we both attended the community rights and fixed links presentations. On the community rights, it was the story of Bouldnor Town Council's fight to protect and use what had been a community centre, which was to be turned into flats. They managed this eventually through much negotiation to save the building and the services and provide jobs. It involved the swapping of some car parks and revenues. The fixed link was an interesting history of present perceptions and with also the present perceptions and proposals. Any fixed link would eventually be a government decision because of the costs. The seminar finished with questions on devolution and communication and the section 106. And Pam, perhaps you would like to
Yeah.
On the 18th, I attended the CPRE. I know we don't belong to CPRE, but it is interesting what is happening there. There was a national award given to the lady who organises the litter picking on the island. And if we do want to undertake any litter picking, we could go through CPRE, we can get equipment to do this. The Ramblers gave a report, and the Solar Coastal Walk, which we had objected to a few years ago, is of course, well, the island is included, and they have just produced a new leaflet at Solar Coast, which can go in with the records. On the 19th, that was I Walk, and John Medland from Freshwater spoke on sustainable transport and reminded us about the questionnaire that had been circulated. John McGurkin and myself have already submitted these, so we'll have to see what happens. Training is being reviewed and a new proposal put forward, which I hope will make it easier for new councillors to go to training. The next thing was the logo for the Isle of Wight is being proposed. It's been circulated, and both Councillor Broadhead and myself have responded to that. So we will have to see what happens with that one. There is going to be a meeting on assisted area status when the Chief Executive of the LEP, Local Enterprise Partnership, is going to attend, and I would like to attend that on the 12th of May. The ILOG is looking to strengthen the ties with Hampshire councils in the light of fewer possibilities. So that was on the 30th. I went to lunch at Osborne House for the launch of the opening of the season and the new Durbar, the new look to the Durbar and the other things that they have done at Osborne, and they are wanting to promote more of wedding functions. And in the old chapel that Victoria had, that became a tea room, an oratory type thing, tea room, and that too has been had a revamp, and it's very nice lunch. The last thing I've been involved with is NANSAG, and they're looking, I know this comes up in a minute or two, but the NANSAG felt that the cost of the stickers was quite high, and they were going to look into obtaining stickers at a cheaper cost. And they also raised the question of covert monitoring and asked, could we find out where we are on the list for the covert monitoring of the traffic speeds, in particular on Woodhill.
Can I ask what you mean, which list?
There is a list of where this covert monitoring is.
Is this the police?
No, it's...
They might not tell us because it's covert. month, but I don't think they'll give us.
I can ask.
Where we are on the list, because the West White again is being pushed to the bottom.
Okay, so this is the police that are doing it.
No, it's not police that have the equipment. I will have to get back to you.
If you let me know, and then I'll
I'll get back to Sally on
Yeah.
that.
I was going to give you this all typed out. You're going to get it anyway.
Oh, lovely. I've been scribbling badly.
Yeah, I know.
You'll let me know.
My computer decided to crash last night. So I have someone coming to deal with it tomorrow afternoon.
That's
So
fine.
then, by next
We'll
week,
liaise on covert.
I'm on the train.
so next Tuesday, you should have this report.
Okay.
Right, that's the end of my report.
You've had enough.
Pamela, just one thing, people have been asking me about access to the National Trust land when you go down to Shalfleet Creek, and I've spoken to a chap called Tupman at the Trust, who says everything's in abeyance because when the new coastal path comes in, they will open up.
What new council path?
The path that's going around the ocean.
The proposed?
And now included as in the proposal,
I think it's
we
a
were
definite.
excluded before.
Well, yeah, we voted against it as a parish council.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That won't stop it.
that won't stop
That's
it.
it.
Absolute nonsense. There's so much nonsense in all my life.
On the understanding that despite our objections, this coastal path is to proceed, it will go along the bottom of Shalfleet Creek, along the National Trust land there, so that the National Trust will be liaising with English Nature, I think, who are part of the organisation who are setting up the park, and eventually there will be access along the coast.
So that's why they're not, that's not right.
But
Because at the moment, there's no link between
At the moment-
Shalfleet and Newtown, is there?
and it's the other way,
The other
it's the
way
left-hand
around.
side, yes. It's on
And there's
there.
no dogs allowed in that.
That's
other
right. Now
section.
this is what's been raised because other
Yes.
dog walkers go down and would like to do a little circuit.
Yeah.
Apparently, nothing will happen in the short term, but in the long term, dogs, children, everybody will be allowed along a path near the coast. But it's a matter of deciding where that should be with view of protecting wildlife.
Yeah, well, you have a path for 5 minutes, then it falls in the sea, and you've got to go further.
Well, let's look on the right side.
Well, they have said we should have a coastal plan. Haven't looked into it at all.
Well, this is the purpose of their meetings, to look
That's
into
another
it
story.
and work out a good plan.
We've
So that's when it will
Eventually,
eventually
that's wherever it is, even if it's in that sort of play stuff.
they're going to work out it's got to be wider than a path because there's got to be a spill-off area each side. And it's going to be from Shalfleet along to the left, so there will be access for people and dogs. But it will be this year, possibly next year or the year after.
Um,
Yes.
Not a lot to say. I was going to ask Stuart if he's heard anything more about examining the feasibility of having a crossing.
I have asked Kevin, I've asked for Kevin Burton to be able to meet us, to be able to inform advice on that. Kevin's been
This is the
involved in
school.
10
Is there a
years
crossing
or
to
so,
join?
and knows the thing back to front and will be able to quote. He's one of their senior guys. I haven't had a response yet. As soon as I do, I'll let you know.
Okay, so we can't update on that at all.
So you see, Meg,
Yeah, oh yes, also I take it upon myself to keep Meg informed because
Yes.
she likes to know what's going on.
No news is good, no news, you let me know what is the news.
Yeah, I do have, I've been in contact with her. The other thing is, when I last went to the field, Bouldnor Field, with Helena, my last comment was the gate, you couldn't open it unless 2 people got hold of it. I see there have been things put up around where the grass has been seeded. I did read a disturbing letter from actuals regarding legal, you know, we were talking about legal things.
Yes.
But I don't know if you can answer that at the moment, but the post for the gate was not correct at the
Give an
time.
update on this. I did put a bit in my report. Basically, I did get a lengthy email on the legal side of things, which I think I forwarded on from, it was via our welcome NELC. And it gave us a lot of information information on, well, it gave us a lot of information, I think. It was very lengthy. I'm going to be honest, I don't know whether it actually told us a lot.
So it should be in writing, it was really.
Yes, yes, and I think it just went down to the bottom line, which I've said before, I think we've learnt from this, and I think if ever anybody comes to us, wants to use anything of ours, we have something legal.
And they pay for the legal
agreement. Yeah. So I think we've learnt a lot from that. What it's basically meant is that to do the finishing touches, I've had to ask for Mark Churcher, who's done a bit of caretaking work for us, to finish off. What he basically did on the request of the chairman was tape around where Actuals had put the grass seed, just to protect it a bit. We have, just while I'm thinking of it, we have actually had notification of the Best Kept Village Award. We're going to be doing the judging in the next couple of months, and I don't know whether you actually want that tape flitting around in the breeze. I have endeavoured to tie bits of it up, but whether it actually looks very pretty, or whether people have now got the message that there's grass seed there, and whether you want it removed, I don't know. Actuals did say they put some rubble down at the smaller pedestrian gate because it was always very wet there. They didn't do it when I asked them to do it, and subsequently it's all drying out and it's very difficult to put anything down. But Mark Churcher is going to put something there. He's also cleaned the graffiti that was on the information board off. And I did ask him to have another look at both the gates because the smaller one doesn't shut automatically. Sorry, dogs might run onto the road. And the other one, as you say, is very difficult.
Physically
You need two people.
So when I go to check the play area, I usually park on that bit of gravel there and walk across.
Oh, Mr. Atchell was supposed to put that gate right.
He was, and I did ask him, but
Well, there's a lot of
I saw
stuff there.
something.
well, he did say he was going to do it.
Something in one of the many emails.
He did say he was going to do it, and I did get Mark to check it when he came to put the notice board up yesterday. But when I went, the safety was all around the gate.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have got through anyway because it was all taped up. So, do you want the tape left on or not?
Yeah.
Leave it on?
Yeah.
So does that answer your query on Bouldnor Fields? I think we're getting there.
Yeah, but the gate is not in a,
But the gate, I need
hasn't been touched by Actuals at all.
You don't think it has?
Well, I'm just asking a question, I was away the other week.
Sunday,
Right,
please.
I'll be checking the play area either, probably tomorrow.
It
So
wasn't
I'll
done
check on it
Sunday
then.
week, so not last Sunday, not Easter Sunday, the Sunday before it wasn't done because one of the women who walked along there, I ducked inside, she was having a right go at my husband about it over the garden fence or hedge.
Can I just ask one question? In the emails I got from you, there's talk, my chairman, about Newwood Green, where the big oak's being cut down.
I thought,
That
yeah.
big oak that's being cut down.
Oh, is this at Withyfields?
No, not Withyfields, it was at Newwood. And I wondered if it was on land owned by the Parish Council. Obviously not, if it's not ringing any bells.
You got an oak on Lincoln Grove?
No.
No.
There's another, there is another Newwood Green,
Top of Cranmore, isn't it?
yeah.
Could be up there.
Okay, I was just going to say I was very glad to replant something else, but obviously it's not on the Parish
Well, I've
Council.
not got a lot. We had a West White Councillors meeting, which went quite well. There's still a few things in the pipeline. Just basically to fight our corner better as a unit. It's going to progress slowly, but it's kind of happening slowly. When I spoke to Jill Kennett about the new councillors training, there used to be 3 sessions, which everybody thought was too much, having committing councillors to 3 different training, so they're going to cut it down to 2. 2.5, I think it was, which I think will probably be a lot better for new councillors than having to commit themselves to 3 times. And at this seminar we went to, there was a very interesting young man, I won't keep it more than a couple of minutes, about grants and how to access money, and there is going to be training sessions on the best way to get grant money and where to access it from, what the criteria is, because it's something we found from experience it is better to find out what we've got to do to get the grant and tailor your application to what they want rather than you put in for what you want. You can always find a way of going in through the back door. So I would suggest it would be quite nice if quite a few councillors could go on that, because with an election coming up in 2 years' time, you know, hopefully there'll be a few councillors left on it. It would be a shame if we didn't get people going to it and then we ended up with a new council and nobody on it had been to any of the training for this particular one, because I think it's going to be very important within the next few years. That's all from me. Finance.
Has everyone had a sheet?
Yes. Any questions on it briefly?
No. I've put Mark 1 maintenance down for his bits and pieces, but I haven't had an invoice, so ignore that one.
Would somebody like to propose that we accept the finances? Helen has proposed a second, please. And Miles seconds. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, now then, to decide whether to give a grant to Westlake Time Bank following previous receipt of their letter of request. Please let me know which stating councils will consider at the next meeting. Now, you've all obviously seen the letter. I don't know whether you just want to refresh yourselves, was it just for the next?
Yes, please.
Okay, who would like to comment on this?
Well, I don't see any purpose in it myself. It really meant nothing to me. We've got a care of a community which the poor son was talking about. I don't like anything that says you've got credits for doing this, that and the other. And I don't know who's supposed to be running the time bank. Perhaps it'd be better if the vendor came and gave a little talk, explain exactly what they're doing, how it can be affordable, cost, time, whatever. So,
No one is anybody. Yes.
That's right. I just thought that I would say yes, more information is needed about the logistics of and how advanced is this project and how would it actually be run. Yes.
How much is already being spent, that's what happens.
So certainly not
Okay, I gather from that, but we are not on this one that's able to make a decision. So, all those in favour of not giving anything to the time bank, please raise your hands. Unanimous. We could write that, say there's something that we do not feel that we have sufficient information at the moment. We have a pretty full agenda the next few weeks with people coming to talk. So perhaps we're very sorry, but I think we need to put this on to the autumn when everybody's in agreement, because we've got talk business and meetings coming out of our ears shortly.
do we ever get any info from other parish councils about things like this?
Well, the interesting thing was, I did see an email flitting around from Michael Mills, the freshwater clerk, and I think he was trying to get other parish and town councils' views and see if we could actually get together on this. I mean, maybe it's something the West White Council could.
I was going to say that at the next meeting of the West White Councils, it might be put forward. We'll wait and see what else is on the agenda. We've got a couple of things sorry to divulge my money. Okay, shall we go on to the next one? To bring round for our drive safety charity. This is about the stickers. What are these stickers for?
You go on your green bin, on both sides, so you've got two stickers, one on each side of the bin, and when your bin goes out every fortnight, it's reminding people when you're in a 30-mile-an-hour area to bring the speed down.
But the bin is only out for 2 or 3 hours.
That's supposed to be the impact, isn't it?
Yes.
Rather than something there all the time. I think that's what.
People get used to.
Yeah. Then people think, oh, there's my bin. Oh, there's the sticker.
And you say you reckon that this £100 is going to be too much?
Yeah. For 75 stickers.
Well, it's £50 for 75, and
Oh, I thought you said you were going to get the price now.
No, we're not going into it. Bob Nelson has got that volunteer to get that information.
Well, would everybody like to make quick comments and then we'll do a vote on it?
I suggest we leave that till we find it.
Have it come back from Nelson.
That's right, yes.
Okay, are we going to leave that until it comes back from Nancy? Okay, then. Decide whether we should grant £30 well on the end in greenhouse for the user of the football net. Any little we can do to help children play, in my opinion, is a good idea.
It's not a lot of
And
money.
whether an agreement.
And it's within our parish. All those in favour?
Thank you very much.
Okay, the pleasure's all ours. To agree.
Very important for the young people.
It most certainly is. To agree a new internal auditor for the parish. I believe we've got somebody in mind, haven't we?
Yes, I did put it in my clerk's report.
Yes.
Let me just grab it so I can remember. If you remember, I asked what Tottenham did. They spent £750, which I thought was astronomical. I did mention it to Val Taylor, who covered me when I was off. She would be willing to do it. She would charge £100. The only thing I'd say about that, because she's our local cover, maybe a little bit close.
I don't think we need to start doing it, because she'll be looking at some of her own work if she comes on.
Yeah. The other person I contacted was Barry Townsend. He's a retired Isle of Wight Council Assistant County Treasurer, well qualified. He currently does Brighton Parish Council internal audit. He charges £25 an hour. Takes him about 3 to 4 hours, and he comes twice a year to check on things within that price. So I thought that was.
I think that's.
So it's very much like Val's
Yeah.
figure.
Yeah, so you're looking around £75 to £100. Come to the office.
Mr. Townsend, please, in the secretary, and all those in favour? Aye. That's that done. To agree up to attend training session of new audit requirements at a cost of £10. This is essential.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All those in favour?
Brenda, are you in favour of Sally being trained?
Are you happy if I close the office, as obviously I can't be in the office and do the training?
Yes,
It's the same, and it's the same day as our meeting.
Yes.
So it would have, I'd have been two places at once and a 14-hour day.
No, I've spoken with Sally about this before, and it would be absolutely ridiculous for her to spend all day and all evening and for one day.
Okay, thank you. Close the training and all that one.
So we're changing our dates, are we?
Yeah.
It's just she's.
No, we'll still do the meeting. Still do the meeting.
Sally's just not going to open the office in the morning because she's got a training session followed by a meeting in the evening. Getting there for a past
I'm going
9.
out, yes.
Right,
Sorry.
to prioritise parish council projects. This is an interesting one, folks.
We've done correspondence.
Oh,
Sorry, I just had a couple of extras, just to make you aware of. One was Best Kept Village, so just make everyone keep everything tidy. And the other was the Cayman Company. There's a letter in there, as well as their newsletter, which basically says, bearing in mind that we've got a 3-year contract with them, that to fulfil Parish Council standing orders, they actually go off and get 3 quotes for parish council insurance. So it saves us having to do it. So basically, when we look at this, we can get the quotes off them, which I thought would be quite useful. Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
Projects.
Yes, projects. Can I move along a little bit here?
Yeah, you go.
This basically, this is sort of, a couple of councillors have mentioned this to me, and when new councillors came on board, they sort of had ideas of what they'd like to do in the parish. And I just felt, so that we're all sort of singing from the same hymn book, that we basically have a list, and we basically think what are the possible things that we might want in the parish and any projects, and then we look at funding that's available, and we might be able to mix and match and say, okay, we'll perhaps do this project because we can get funding for it. The three things I have just jotted down. One was the Bouldnor Field footway, to look at the type of footway that you might want, bearing in mind we might get some funding if that development goes ahead, or we might need to look at funding ourselves. The other was more new notice boards. I have to say, the new one that went up yesterday has got magnets, so rather than pressing in pins and then everything blowing away and having to be laminated and put in plastic pouches, we maybe look at the... we've got 8.
Pretty crappy.
Yeah, we've got 8 notice boards, so we need to maybe look at those. And the other is something that's on the next month's agenda, the May agenda, which is play equipment. We maybe need to think about, especially following on from what the school children were saying they wanted, we maybe we look at that and where we're going to put it and where we get funding. So that was just 3 things to put in the pot, really.
Just out of interest, this big scheme up the road here, what are we doing about 106 on that? They did, when I spoke with them in here, when they had their exhibition, they were talking about in that middle green in the middle, having that as a children's play area.
Well then.
Yeah, I think the problem with that application is that it is an outline application.
Yeah.
So many matters were reserved for future determination. It's quite difficult to make any real comment about it.
Yeah.
It's actually it's actually one of the worst planning applications for its size.
Well, the thing is, the rest of the Shalfleet could have used it without going along the main road to Walden's Landing. They had a play area there, couldn't they?
The only possibility is that if, for example, the Bouldnor one does go ahead, that's also an outline, but it is much more complete. And it is the same planning officer. So if that planning officer is prepared to recommend this one, then unless they can't overcome the highways issues, they'd probably recommend the Bouldnor one. If that one goes through, of course, the whole reason for this Shalfleet application, which is based upon identifying the numbers of people requiring affordable housing, is going to be met by the Bouldnor one. So part of the plank on that outline falls away. So we're in a very difficult, very fluid situation. But the Shalfleet one is so vague, it makes no mention of any 106 contribution other than the statutory minimum. It makes no mention of how the affordable housing will be managed in perpetuity.
No.
So all of those things have got to be determined. The Bouldnor one at least says, well, there will be a management committee which will do that. So, as I say, the Bouldor one is a much more complete one, but the two do affect each other.
You know, this development up here, 19, what's the word they used for, in order to grant permission, was it 19?
Conditions.
Conditions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 19 conditions. Yeah.
How do we find out what these are?
Oh, they're listed on the on officer's report.
We'll get them on the decision notice, won't we, when it's available?
Yeah, but the 19 condition, you can look at them on the website.
On the-
But
Do I do it on the planning?
yeah, on the planning website.
So I
Yeah.
can find out
The
there.
strange thing is that one of the 19 conditions is not how they will be managed as affordable housing in
It's
the
incredible,
community.
isn't it?
It just doesn't exist.
And
There's just a comment about this will be done by a legal
the
agreement.
most incredible part of it
How will it be
is the
enforced?
bus stops. Who on earth in
Well,
their
the bus
right
stops are
mind
going to be about
is
50
going,
yards.
is going to walk towards a walking room to a bus stop? When you've got two bus stops down here, and they've got bus shelters.
It is a mess.
Anyway, we're getting away from that point.
Projects.
Can we all possibly think of projects within the next, and in the autumn I suggest that we come back?
Well,
with
I
ideas.
think there's nothing wrong with making a slight start on this, and Mr. McGewitt is keeping very web an eye on finance, and I think perhaps he could be part of a team. I would be quite willing to work with him, and I'm sure Steve would too, that we have a small working party. Rather than be a working party of one, make it a working party of 2 or 3, and take this responsibility forward.
No, I've no objection to whoever wants to be on it, quite honestly.
Just surveying the area, picking up what we perceive as needs from people and what we see ourselves.
I think we need to go further than that. It's not just our decision, it's the community decision, because we're working for the community. So somehow we have got to lobby the community, and I think that's one of the first things. So if there were a small group of us, we could decide how we were going to do it, when we were going to do it, who we were going to do it, all those logistics.
I think we ought to revisit the parish plan too, because I'm sure there's
Yes.
something there when you slip through the net
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things that could be really looked at.
And there would also be a structure to the questionnaire
Yeah.
that needed.
Either a questionnaire or, one way, has anybody thought of perhaps engaging in the people that come to the lunch? Lunch is here.
Yes.
You get a lot of the local people coming to this lunch twice a month. It might be worth
It's
that.
once a month.
It's once they allow us to have a little talk.
We're back to once a month now for the summer.
But you know, it might be worth for people, because when people get together, they do talk about things, and they probably think, oh, well, we won't be heard. But it's not just them, it's everybody. Well, shall we suggest that between us, that Mr. McGurk's not here, but Steve and Helen go on it? Would you like to go on it?
I see no objection, I can't think.
Would you like to
Why
go on
not?
it, Pamela?
Well, yes, but how many?
Well, you've got three, you've got 2 people from Ningwood, one from Ningwood, one from Newbridge, and one from, it would be helpful to have one from the biggest part of the parish, quite honestly. So should we make it you 3?
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going
Because
to
we can always bring others in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People will drop off, we can bring someone else in.
Yes.
Okay, well that's agreed then. So that's agreed with the 3 of you.
Right, so we're still in April, so sometime before the end of April we make a start on this, so we can report back in May.
Right, okay then, fine. Right, now we've got this, last but not least, we have the standing orders. Now, has everybody looked at them, and has anybody got any queries? So we don't want to go through it bit by bit. But if anybody's got anything they're terribly unhappy about, or they're not sure about, or they don't understand,
There's a few bits
speak
on
now, forever hold my peace.
Right, 1D, I'm not very clear as to what have we decided on 20 minutes?
Well, I have to say, just to put people in the picture, we had 1 page really of standing orders. I knew they needed looking at. I looked at fresh waters, which I think were about 6, and then when I came back on holiday, Val had met with you both, and we've got 13. Everything that's in bold has to pretty much stay.
Except the headings are not.
Okay. 1D, we had actually agreed 30 minutes, say the fact that our standing orders actually say that decisions don't normally get re-looked at within 6 months, I thought, are we going to start the debate on this one again? To be honest with you, I would say just leave it as it is what you've agreed, 30 minutes, and when you review it next year, if you want to look at it again, that's fine. The only thing I would say, sorry.
Just comment on that. What the county council does is have 15. But the chairman can extend that at discretion. Because there will also be occasional meeting where there are a lot of people present and they might accept more.
Yeah.
But we've agreed 30 minutes, so we have to stick to that now.
I did suggest 15 in the past, because it can make for a very lengthy meeting. But I think that's, and I think Val said, oh, let's make it 20 as a compromise. It's entirely up to you. But the one thing I didn't like in there, it says prior to the council meeting. I personally don't think that should be in. We'd actually agreed that it be part of the agenda and the meeting as we've done today.
Yes.
So I was going to suggest take prior to the council meeting out and just say commence, period of time designated for members of the public to make representation on parish council matters.
Can I just say, before we go into huge detail here, meetings and then representation right at the end seem to be terribly repetitive. Representation perhaps should be part of meetings.
Yeah.
And then you could tie it all up in one, because we're saying the same things.
I know.
And that different, I don't know why that's a different
No,
type.
I know.
But we're saying the same things there
Yeah.
as we're saying in 74.
Exactly.
Is everybody...
So,
Sorry, carry on.
yeah, so 74 and
We don't really
one.
need in there.
Well, or
One or
anything
the
in
other.
there that needs to be carried back to meetings needs to be, what's in 74 should be in 1. If anything that's not in, anything in 74 that's not in 1 should be included in 1, in my opinion. Because you're saying the same things again.
So everything in 74, not in 1,
Should be included
should be in 1.
Is that a...
Yeah,
everyone
I
agree?
agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
The heading is admission to the public and press to meetings. So because we mentioned that to that now.
Which one's that?
Number 60 is the heading.
This is another one.
Admission-
Have you actually resolved then that everything in 74?
Sorry. Mark said we've got meetings, which is one major heading, and then you've got the order of
I see what you're
business.
saying. I think number 60 should
60
also
is
be
where,
in 1.
yes,
Yes.
yes, you're absolutely right.
And therefore all those other bits
Yeah,
that
no.
go with it, confidential business liaison, planning,
So
and financial
include
matters.
60 in 1. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think
But then 61, 62, 63, and 60. Oh no.
There's all
Yes.
sorts.
Yes,
There's-
sixty-
I think if we're not careful, we're going to get ourselves in the
63 seems to be out of the same.
But she did say that one thing is the conduct of the meeting, and the other is a sort of other.
I can't see why you can't
Finance was another topic.
Okay.
very long-winded.
Can we,
It is.
well, I think it is, to be honest.
I did actually mention to Sally, these aren't set in stone. These are what.
Well, the bold ones are.
Yes, but what happened was Val came and did them in Sally's absence. But I did say to Sally, you look at them, if there's anything you're not unhappy, if you're unhappy about, please come back to us and we will look at them again.
Which I've done in my
You
email.
have had time, haven't you?
Oh, afraid these, yeah, I've gone through them bit by bit. So that's why I'm asking, have you now resolved to take out prior to the council meeting?
Yeah.
So that's coming out.
Yes.
And you're leaving it at 30 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah?
If you go through yours,
Yeah,
Yes.
and
okay.
then we'll amend them.
That's
accordingly.
fine. So we've done that one. So basically 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6 I was happy with.
Yeah.
5, do we need that first paragraph?
Where a statute, regulation or order confers functional duties on the proper officer in the council, in the following cases, he shall be the parish clerk or the nominated officer.
Then you go on to say.
I was going to take that out. Well, I was going to take that out, but you might actually nominate someone other than me to be the proper officer to do something, like receive and retain plans. So, where are you looking?
Well, you've said in the following cases, he, she shall be, I see, or nominated officer. Okay.
Right, so carry on with yours.
So, are you happy with
Yeah.
5?
Yes.
Okay. So going on page 2, quorum, that's basically pretty standard. Voting, standard. So 9 and 10, I think, are fine. As is the person providing. Order of business, the only thing that wasn't on there was apologies. We need...
Just make one point on these. All these things, shall be, if you put shall be 2 colon, you get rid of all the 2's going down, which just makes it easier and tidier. You know, elect, receive.
Which one are we on now?
11. Well, it happens a lot.
At the annual.
The first business shall be 2 colon, and then you just put elect, receive
Yeah.
in there. It just
Take out the 2.
makes better and tidier, and that happens a few times.
Okay. I'm taking the 2's out.
Right.
That's fine. Are you happy with 12?
Yeah.
13, as I say, I don't know whether you want apologies in there or whether you see there's no need. No need.
Provided that if a copy isn't quite right. To really consider the minutes, provided that if a copy is
So we can consider. Take the if out.
probably
Yeah.
13A.
13A. Yeah.
What's the next one?
13F. Questions from councillors. I was going to, at the moment we don't really have questions from councillors. I try and do things in my report. Val, when I queried this with Val, she said we could have it as a separate agenda item. I don't know whether you think it's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary. We're a small council, we all talk to each other.
Do you want that even in there?
No.
Take out 13F?
We're a small council, we talk to each other. It's not like we're 16 of us.
That's fine.
And again, I get rid of all the 2's.
Get rid of all the 2. Take out 2. Number 16. I thought this was going a bit too far. The clerk shall date every notice of motion or recommendation when received, number each notice in order in which it's received, enter it in a book, which shall be open to the inspection of every member of the council. Basically, what I do, someone asks me to put something on an agenda, I keep an agenda, future agenda.
Yeah, that's fair enough as far as I'm concerned. I thought that was being a bit full.
Should we take that out?
Yeah, I can understand that again if we've got a big council.
Yeah.
We've got some people milling around.
And also 17A, you have to write to say that we want to move it to a later meeting. Basically, we do it on a priority basis. If we need to deal with something in April, we deal with it in April. If we've got a full agenda, we might defer something to May, but it might be something that was brought in March that's deferred to May. So I didn't actually like 17A. It says, so you're happy to take that out? The clerk shall send the council summons to the meeting and agenda by email unless you request them to be posted. I hand deliver them all.
Right,
So-
whichever way. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's statutory that you have to give that summons,
Yeah.
and have to make sure the person has got it, don't you? So
I can
it's,
just- I will ensure you all receive the summons to the meeting.
yeah,
Full stop.
That's statutory, that's what you vote.
Well, it should
clerk
be.
shall ensure the
That's
council's
new.
summons to the meeting. Just to
Ensure the councillors receive their summons to the meeting.
Yeah.
Take out the rest.
Put it in bold,
Yeah.
and it's a statutory.
Oh,
What else have you got on here?
bear with me.
you have to check whether it is involved.
Well, we can put it in. We can just leave it like that. I'll ensure
Yeah.
you receive the summons.
Yeah.
Then I thought the rest was okay. They do go into a lot more detail than we need, but for
twos.
Oh, yeah.
On 21.
Hey, members, I ask the chairman of the council or charge, any questions concerning the business of the council?
Providing a full day's notice of the question has been given to the person it's addressed. I don't think we need that in. You basically. So we're talking about a parish councillor asking you or I a question 4 days before a meeting. Is that how you read it? A member may ask the chairman of the council or the clerk any question concerning the business of the council, provided 4 clear days' notice of the question has been given to the
I
person
think it
who
means
is
a member of
addressed.
Is it to do that?
But it doesn't say that, does it?
Says a member. Yeah.
We have questions at a meeting,
Yes.
so why are we even
So we
putting
can
that
take
in?
all that lot out.
I would take 22 out.
Yes, remove it.
And then it says,
And then
no
22.
questions not connected with business under discussion shall be asked except during the part of the meeting set aside for questions. Well, that, you've just agreed that people can ask at the chairman's discretion.
I think it's better when people can butt in as long as you can't shut them up. I don't mean that like that.
No.
I mean
Take 23
out.
out.
24 and 25.
Yeah, I think take all questions out. Yeah.
I think as long as it's your discretion.
Rules of debate, I thought they were
But someone pointed out to me, the rules of debate are standard anyway.
but if you don't have them in there, they don't know that it's standard.
I need to be.
You can't assume that people know what rules of debate are. It's better to have them in.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, you speak through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think leave that in.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got another load of twos.
Yeah, take out 2.
On M.
26 each, I didn't understand.
26.
Really 26, I think.
It's 26.
27 each, sorry,
27
27
each.
each, sorry.
Further amendments,
Basically, if someone's proposing an amendment, you can't propose another one until you've got rid of the one that was moved. So say you say, I don't agree with that, I propose blah de blah. Brenda can't then say, well, I propose blah. You have to deal with yours.
Each amendment has to go on separately.
Okay.
Something like this on the finance committee, something was proposed, and I
Yes.
sort of compromise a counter one. I can't remember what happened to the first one, but then.
Well, basically, if you propose something and nobody seconds it, and then someone that's slightly different. So if you have got a seconder, then it's not carried. But someone else can then propose
I
something
think
else.
that's sort of what happened.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. So are you happy with everything else in 27? Apart from taking out the 2s. 28. The ruling of the chairman on a point of order or the admission of a personal explanation should not be discussed. Didn't even understand that.
Yeah, but once the chairman has spoken, that's it. What I have said. Nobody, you can't revisit it.
And
You can't argue.
Well,
The chairperson
you can't
can't
argue.
argue with the chair has taken a decision.
so you want to leave that in?
You could just put, you can't argue with the chair.
Any member?
It's final. Have a look.
You cannot argue with the chair. The chair, what the chairman says is final.
Yeah.
The ruling of the chairman is final.
Yeah.
Whether we agree with it or not.
Yes. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know, the chairman will take into review the.
So we're taking out all that admissibility of a
Yeah.
personal explanation. So it's just the ruling of the chairman on a point of order is final.
Yeah.
Yeah? What about B?
Yeah, I think that needs to stay, and any member may speak when invited by the
Okay.
chairman.
That's no problem.
What about 29? How far do you go? I don't think that's needed,
No, I
do
don't
you?
think any of that's needed.
Yeah,
They're
take
talking
that.
about big classes
No.
again, I think, when you've got lots of people kicking around.
I think 30 should stay. But to be honest with you, if a meeting's adjourned, I don't think it even needs to go in. If a meeting's adjourned and you haven't finished what's on the agenda, it's going to go on the new agenda. Take that out.
Disorderly conduct.
Disorderly conduct,
That needs to stay.
I think that needs to stay. I think right of reply needs to stay, and I think the limit to 3 minutes is good,
Yeah.
because otherwise people can shunter on for an hour. Alteration of motion. So basically that's saying if after consideration you want to change your motion, you can. I think that's all right. Decision, yeah. Are you happy with 34, 5, 6? Any changes on those?
No.
38. 38, I wanted you just to note the change. It's being proposed that instead of just, shall be orders for the payment of money should be authorised by resolution of accounts, which is what we do, and signed by one member and the parish clerk.
Yeah.
Now, basically, the reason for that, Val said, was protects me, and if I'm the responsible officer, 2 councillors shouldn't be able to sign cheques without my say-so.
No. Fine. No. Yes.
So, me and a councillor
Yeah.
is probably a better practice.
Yeah.
You happy with that?
Yeah.
You have two signatories anyway. Then.
Yes.
So is it Helena and yourself? Are you-
No,
there's-
the two signatures will either be Pam and Sally, or Sally and Helena, or
Yeah.
I suppose the only
Yeah.
thing,
Sally knows what's going on.
Yeah, I know that. I just wondered who are the parish council
there's
are the
Pam,
signatories?
there's Pam, me,
and
Helena and Brenda. It's 4 of us.
Yeah, so
Do you think that's
you
sufficient?
easily, I thought.
Yeah.
You and one other.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
It's a flexible one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Alternating one.
Yes.
Right, no, then.
Sealing of documents, I think I was happy with that.
Committees.
Sorry. Committees, were you happy with that?